Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came, gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the nail-pierced hands, washed me in your cleansing flow. Now all I know, your forgiveness and embrace. Worthy is the Lamb, seated on the throne. Crown you now with any crown. You reign victorious, high and lifted up. Jesus, Son of God, the darling of heaven, crucified. Worthy is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb. Thank you for the cross, Lord. Thank you for the price you paid, bearing all my sin and shame. In love you came, gave amazing grace. Thank you for this love, Lord. Thank you for the nail-pierced hands, washed me in your cleansing flow. Now all
edition of the Hour of Grace on ABC Amber Television. With me on this program today is our one and only Mr. Nanchop and Your Excellency, President Sako Samuel Ikome.
Hello, Minister Silva. Good evening, televiewers. Good evening, beautiful people of the beloved nation, Ambazonia. With me, I have this wonderful, great blessing that God has given us for this revolution. No one else but Your Excellency, Dr. Sako Ikome. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Nanchop, and thank you, Minister Silva. Thank you for all you do for Ambazonia and for this struggle. And I'm happy and very, very happy to be part of this program.
That's great. Thank you. So, dear televiewers, this is an exciting show. You know, we will be talking about a very exciting topic: a Christian, politics, and self-defense. And please, you who is just joining the show right now, you want to do us a favor, do the Ambazonians a favor. Click on your share button and invite someone to join the show. Because I want to tell you something. I mean, this show is going to be so inspiring, and you don't just want to miss it. You don't want your best friends to miss it. Those little children who are there right now making noise, please tell them to be quiet because the president has something to tell us. And of course, Minister Silva is in the house. We have something to discuss on. And this is a key topic in this revolution that I really want us to take time to dilute it, to break it down. And of course, one of the best things we have nowadays is this book, this wonderful book, Let the Righteous Many Step Out, Our Christians and Our Geopolitical Choices. It's a book we'll be elaborating also on during this show, because this show will be drawing its inspiration from this book. And there is the author of this book is right with us. That's Your Excellency, Dr. Sako.
Thank you.
So this book has been a blessing because I took time to go through this book. And I'll tell you something. I couldn't just drop this book down. You know, when I got a hold of it, I could now understand why the Brazilians were so smart to read through it and to that's why to translate it in their language. We need it in pidgin, for example. But hey, dear televiewers, as I said, you don't just want your friends to miss the show. Please click on the share button. Invite somebody. Tell them Hour of Grace is live on ABC Amber TV, and the president is here to do something. Minister Silva, you may want to say one or two things before we proceed.
Your Excellency, Sako Ikome, in this edition of the Hour of Grace. And the topic of the program today is inspired from questions that many have been asking, that why should Christians, be involved in politics, or should Christians actually have anything to do with politics? And that is why we came up with the topic for this program of today, which is Christians, politics, and self-defense. And fortunately, we have a book that has been written by our president, President Samuel Sako Ikome, which we're going to be drawing a lot of inspiration from that book to answer some of the questions that so many people have been asking with respect to whether Christians should be part of politics or not. So, Mr. Nanchop, what do you think about that?
Well, firstly, before we go into that, hello, Mr. Silva. Minister Silva, can you hear me, sir? Minister Silva? Hello, Minister Silva, can you hear me, sir? But dear televiewers, we are battling these technicals. We are not yet there, but we are getting there. So I don't know, Silva is reconnected. Hello, Mr. Silva, can you hear me, sir? Well, I guess Mr. Silva, but we'll just have to continue with the show. And I hope you will join us sometime along the show. Yes, of course. You know, this is a myth. And I'll allow the president to describe that more, but I want to make this very clear that growing up as a child in a little church, I had a lot of this saying that Christians are not supposed to be in politics. Christians are righteous people. They are people who are not supposed to do this and that. You know, and reading this book from His Excellency Dr. Samuel, I got an inspiration that opened my eyes. Now, I want you to get it from the horse's mouth. Your Excellency, sir. You know, many people believe that Christians are not supposed to get into politics. Sometimes they even go for to like use some Bible verses to say, yes, Christians are not supposed to be this and that. But firstly, I would like us to define who is a Christian, because if we want to talk about Christians, everyone can just say, I'm a Christian. But from your book describes that a Christian, firstly, your book describes that Christianity is a lifestyle. And a Christian is that one who wholeheartedly follows Christ, you know, and lives the life of Christ. So I just want you to perhaps shed some light on that, sir.
You know, I think that the confusion is a semantic confusion. It depends on what people consider to be the meaning of politics.
Mm-hmm.
If politics has anything to do with human values, if politics has anything to do with leadership in society, if politics has anything to do with governance, then everything I've mentioned is all right for Christians, because Christians are people who pursue their values everywhere, and they live by those values because it's a lifestyle.
Yep.
Then Christians are people who are involved in leadership. It is expected from creation that God created man to exercise dominion over his creation.
That's
so
right.
that's
right.
already leadership, and that's already governance. So so that's God's original plan, and that's in the Bible. So when people say that believers are not supposed to do, or Christians are not supposed to do politics, I don't know what they are referring to. Probably they have something else. There is a pejorative connotation to the word politics, and it has to do with playing games, maybe being sleazy, and probably being dangerous and cunning. If that's the meaning of politics, believers. Then I want to say that for me, I look at politics as a process that organizes people to address the issues that affect human life in all the dimensions.
I'm going to cut you short, but we are going to, our next topic will be Christians and politics.
Correct.
Now I want to read a quote from this book, sir. Okay. Because now we're talking about Christians and politics. That's going to be a key point in a few minutes, but I want to describe who is a Christian, because I think it's necessary that we understand who a Christian is before we talk about Christians in politics. From the book, the president's definition, the definition of the book by Christian, we are referring to those who are committed followers of Christ without limiting ourselves to particular religious denomination. I'll repeat. By Christian, we are referring to those who are followers of Christ without limiting ourselves to a particular religious denomination. So you may want to shed some light on that.
Yeah. So Christianity is a relationship with your Creator through Christ. And commitment is more than just head knowledge. Many people do have head knowledge. They are they can read it for any purposes and pass exams. So by commitment, I'm talking about a resolve to walk according to the precepts of the Bible, according to the Word of God, and you do so with a sense of dedication to serve God in all you do. So when people do that, they are actually separated from the masses. So that's why it is the word Christian was never coined by Christ. It was never even coined by those who follow Christ. It is the outsiders who were not followers of Christ who coined the word Christian, because they saw that those who were followers of Christ, who were like Christ, so they called them Christian, that means Christ. Mm-hmm. So committed followers of Christ end up being like Christ, so they are like Christ, so they are called Christians. So those are people that are separate from others, who made a decision, and who are followers indeed, not just with a mental concept about Christianity.
Thank you, sir. Minister Silva, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Nanchop, Your Excellency. So, with respect to your definition of who a Christian is, are you like saying a true Christian is beyond someone who just goes to church? Because a lot of people go to church today, and we really want to find out if everyone that goes to church is truly a Christian, with respect to your definition.
With respect to my definition, I want to tell you that in my definition, a Christian should actually be synonymous to a disciple, because in the days of Jesus, the word Christian did not exist. It was in Antioch during in the days of Paul, years after Christ, that the heathens gave the name Christianity to those who were followers of Christ, who were actually disciples. So if you are not a disciple, that means a faithful follower of Christ and his teachings, you are not a Christian. You belong to a certain denomination, a certain organization, which you can have membership, but you don't speaking in terms of relationship as a committed follower or disciple of Jesus, you are not, then you are not. That is a more spiritual definition. But because there's the other dimension that says a church on this earth has a legal identity. So it is, first of all, an organization duly registered. So it has membership conditions. So people who fulfill those membership conditions have actually become members of an organization. But membership to an organization is not the same as being a faithful follower of Christ. And sometimes we miss the two are not interchangeable, because the first is a movement of people who are committed followers of Christ. The second is people who are subscribed as members of an organization that has a legal identity. So, but my focus here is people who are committed followers of Christ, who have therefore been transformed by what they know, what they heard, what they believe in Christ Jesus. So there is a transformation when you become a faithful follower, so a faithful disciple of Christ. If you replace the word Christianity and disciple, then you will come to the full understanding of my definition of a Christian.
Well, with that being said, dear televiewers, I want us to go straight to the next point. Now, let's talk about Christians and politics. Now that we know who a Christian is, we want to attribute this or relate this to politics. So let's talk about Christians and politics. Before we go into that, let me read a quote from this book. It's part of the it was in the introduction of the book. A quote from Donald J. Trump. If the righteous many do not confront the wicked few, then evil will triumph. September 19, 2017, at the United Nations Gathering Assembly. And one of the quotes I also got from this book says, if you wish to influence others, you have to stand out from the crowd. referring to Christians. You have to be somebody distinct. You have to stand out from the culture. You have to come out from just being normal. You have to come out from the majority to show yourself as a distinct person. And it goes further and says, unless you remain as light, you can never affect darkness. Your Excellency, when I hear this, when I read this, I get inspired. It makes me feel, Jesus said, you are the light of the world, talking to us Christians. The Bible says you are the light of the world. A city that is built on a hill cannot be hidden. So I want you to elaborate on this, sir. When we talk about Christians in politics, why do you think it's necessary for a Christian to get involved in politics?
Because here's this is the plan of God. Know that it's from the plan of God. God desired people who have a relationship with Him, who fear Him, to be in charge over His creation. That was His plan. Remember the first blessing that God blessed man, the first one. In the book of Genesis, the book of the beginning, chapter 1, verse 28, it was, go, be fruitful, multiply, and then what? Exercise dominion over my creation. And the question I want us to answer is, was Adam in his righteous state when he was blessed, or not? Or he had already disobeyed God, blessed him, and asked him to exercise authority and governance over his creation? So you discover that the mandate, the authority to rule God's creation was given to Adam while he was in a good relationship with God. When he disobeyed God, in reality, he lost that authority, that blessing that God gave him to govern his creation. So you say Christians, are they to be involved in politics? Oh yes, that's the original design of God. That's why God gave Adam the mandate to rule, to govern, when he was still righteous. He had a good relationship with him. Those who have a good relationship with God are expected to be leaders and exercise authority over God's creation, because they have the fear of God. Then they can exercise with the wisdom of God in handling God's creation. That is why Jesus said, you are the light of the world. Who did Jesus talk to? He did not talk to every human being.
That's true.
He talked to his followers.
That's right.
Those who have now a relationship with him.
Yes.
He told them that you have become the light of the world. In other words, Jesus came to restore them to the place where Adam used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, now that you have been restored, you have a relationship with me, you have become the light of the world. He said, nobody lights a lamp and put it under a book. He will put it on the lampstand so that what? It can produce light for everybody.
That's right.
So Christians are supposed to stand out and be the light for others. What does light do? It gives direction.
It gives direction. That's right.
It makes that people, it is leadership. Light is leadership. Because leadership is example. If you are the light here, you must exude character that is worthy of emulation. That is leadership.
That's right.
It's influence. So it is expected that in God's way, that the believers, Christians, supposed to be the one that will stand out as the light, because he can be emulated, and the society will be a place, because that's the plan of God.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Minister Silva, I'm going to pose the same question to you, if you can hear me. Hello, Minister Silva.
Yes, Mr. Nanchop, loud and clear.
Thank you, sir. Please, now, to your own opinion, as a servant of God, why do you think it's necessary for Christians to get involved in politics?
Mr. Nanchop, if we look at what is happening in the political world today, all the evil that is being manifested, it is simply as a result of the fact that a lot of Christians became complacent and passive when it comes to Christianity, and evil people hijacked it and decided to do it the wrong way. And so, like Mr. President wrote in his book, I strongly believe that it is time for the righteous many to step out and begin to, function in those areas that they were called to function in and be a light, in those areas. Mr. President made a statement. He said that God commissioned us to the world. When we talk of going out as light to the world, it's not like going to Germany, to America, or going to India or whatsoever. It is talking about us going to the political world, the music world, the sports world, which means we carry that which we carry what we carry, has the potency to affect these worlds, these different worlds positively. And so Christians should not shy away from politics, thinking that it is a secular affair. Christianity is of God. Like Mr. President rightly said, God commissioned us to go and dominate in all the different worlds, in the world of politics, in the world of music, in the world of sports, and in the world of business. Christians have to be the one to champion in all these different areas, because God is the creator and author of these domains. And if we are God's children, then we should be the one to be light in this area, and not secular people or people who don't even know God.
Excellent, sir. Let me quote something from this book. Reading this book from Mr. President, one of the things I enjoyed reading this book is how you relate Christian leadership to our modern generation. Christian leadership. And I want to read something, I want to quote something from the book. It says, the value of your Christian virtue should not only be appreciated or desired by men as one of many good theories. There are many good theories in the world today. Christian values should be able to change the world. We're talking about Christian values. Of course, talking about Christian values, we can't deny the fact that this great nation, America, has built its foundation upon those Christian values. You see, and most successful nations in the world. Come on, let me continue. So the Christian leader, now we're talking about, now this is what really drew my attention, to see how you relate the Christian leadership to our modern days generation, to this modern generation. And this book goes further to say the Christian leader, by this principle, now talking about the Christian values, should serve a living epistle for others to read and know Jesus. Let everyone see and know that what they observe in you is fruit of an unanswering attachment to the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, the next question I'm going to ask, which I think is very important for our televiewers to watch and to understand. Now, dear televiewers, if you're just joining us, this is a special edition of Our Grace with His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikome, the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And of course, I have with me no one else but, Minister Silva, the great one. Now, I want to ask you this question, sir. I think one of the challenges people mostly face being in position of leadership as Christians, in a cellular world, of course, and yet maintaining their stance with God. I think that's a challenge most people face, like being in a position of leadership and yet maintaining your stance with God. Now, talking about Christian leadership, why do you think, and how do you think it's necessary for a Christian leader, or how can he impact the world, and why is it of advantage to us if we have Christian leaders in the world, or Christians in position of leadership in the world today?
The world has no shortage of knowledge. The world has a shortage of character. The world is ready to bring somebody who is below them in learning, if that person has character. Because without character, there's no trust. They will not trust you because you have degrees and put on this step. The world will say, we have seen most of that. That's the problem with the world, men of character. And I think the academic world and the libraries and the university, they train the mind, but they don't train the spirit, they don't train the heart.
That's right.
So they cannot transform character. So I believe that people who have got an encounter with the saving word of God, who have experienced a transformation within, they are capable of character that is lacking in the world. And that is what will make them to stand out. That's what will make them to be trusted. That's why what will make them to be above only and not below. And I believe that you impact people by your character, not just by the amount of words you know or the amount of English you speak.
Mhm.
That's what education will give you. But the character is contagious. So that is what we need to lead, because leadership is influence.
That's right.
For good leadership.
Yes.
So when those who have got a character and an encounter and a transformation, they have what it takes to stand out and be trusted.
That's right.
They have what it takes to stand out and be the example.
That's
They
right.
have what it takes to say, follow me as I do the right thing. Some people will say, don't do what I do. Just do what I say.
see.
But it takes somebody with character to say, follow me as I am doing the right thing. Do what I do. And that is what makes you stand out. That's what makes you a leader. That's what makes, because you must be an example. An example in service, an example in character.
Mhm.
So I believe that the question why I said those people should step out is that you have what it takes for you to tell them no, and they don't doubt you.
Mhm.
You know, a person with character comes and tells the people that there's nothing inside here. Everybody should go home. Everybody goes home. The person with that character comes and tells the crowd, see, there's nothing inside here. They say, no, let us want to verify and see if there's nothing in there before we can go. They're not going anywhere. They don't believe you.
Lack of trust.
They cannot believe.
That's right.
So this is what the world lacks today. And this is what the church has. But why are we having such a shortage of people in leadership in the society when a lot of people have become committed followers of Christ, transformed within by the work? What is holding them back? It is probably the lack of knowledge or a certain lie that they have believed, that they are not supposed to get involved. Let me say this, that everything in society is divided. There's no aspect of society that you will go there and say, we live in a secular world, right?
That's
Education
right.
is in a secular world. Business is in a secular world. Even your job is in a secular world. Are you working in in the temple? Everything we do in this life is in the world. Then who told this lie that you cannot get involved in the political process because that is the secular world? What about these other ones? Even the drivers to drive a taxi is in the secular world. So everything is in the secular world. But when you believe that lie, which has been told several times to the people, it's the good people who are qualified, who have a mandate to step out and be where they have to be and make the society a better place. Otherwise, evil people will continue to be in charge and make the wrong decision with the wrong motives and set the wrong examples and destroy the society.
Your Excellency, this is very interesting. This is so interesting. Now, give me a second to project something. This is so interesting because most people believe that true Christians, in quote, don't have to get involved in serving in government or public positions or public offices. And most of the times they try to back this up with scriptures. For instance, they will say things like John 18:36, when my kingdom is not of this world, my kingdom is where is you know, I mean, they try to use scriptures to back up this myth, this ignorance. They read things like, let me just give one of those famous quotes, and people usually say, let me read it from the Bible. My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight that I should not be delivered unto the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. So some will say, this is Jesus speaking. This is John chapter 8, verse 36. They'll say, the Lord Jesus himself said his kingdom is not of this world. So why should we Christians be part of this world? Why should we be part of the governance system of the world? Why should we have influence in this world?
Yeah, thank you. You got it. But let me tell you this. Jesus actually said, my kingdom is not of this world. He did not say my kingdom is not in this world.
That's right.
So these are two different things.
That's right.
So those people who want to deceive, they take a word and they turn it around. They think that people will not pay attention. Jesus never said, my kingdom is not in this world. Because he said we should pray that kingdom come. So the kingdom of God is also in this world. But he said, my kingdom is not of this world. That means it is not owned by this world. It does not belong to this world. The authority is not coming from this world. The power that is in the life of a Christian, of course, does not come from this world.
That's right.
So it is still the kingdom. The kingdom of God is in the power of the Spirit. That's the kingdom. And it does not come from this world. It comes from above.
That's right.
So how does that relate to politics? Jesus was actually saying that my kingdom is in after. Did Jesus not tell those disciples that you are in the world, that you are not of this world? So you are in the world. You are in the political world, in the scientific world, in the educational world. You are in the world. Occupy till I come. You are in the world. He always told them that while you occupy in this world, you should know that the power that is working in you is not from this world.
That's right.
You must maintain your relationship. If not, the power will not be with you, and you have no authority on earth. So that's the meaning. And some people you want to interchange in and from. They are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Silva, I can see you burning. I can see you burning. It's like you have something to say. Come on, Bob. Release.
Well, actually, we are getting some light from what the president is saying. And I believe, like Hosea 4:6 says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. I believe this program today is really to inspire a lot of friends out there, to come out from that myth which they have, believed for long, that Christians cannot be in politics. Like Your Excellency rightly said, I strongly believe that every true leadership, is inspired of God. Each time people step on their own to make, leaders, at the end of the day, it becomes a failure. We can even see it in the Bible, in 1 Samuel 8, where Samuel became old and decided to make his 3 sons, leaders without consulting God. And the Bible records that these guys became so corrupt, and they perverted justice, and it went to a point where the elders of Israel, started complaining. And that is what we are facing in the world today. A lot of people we find in the place of leadership today and are not really delivering, because those people are not they were not supposed to be where they are. For example, being in a place of leadership doesn't necessarily mean that you are a true leader. There are a lot of people functioning in places where they were not supposed to be there, because God did not ordain them to be in those offices. And so that is why, people must seek the face of God each time they want to, look for true leadership. And leadership, like I said, is of God. God is the initiator, of every, thing on earth. He's the initiator of even the politics we are talking of. And that is why people had to consult God, each time in the Bible, each time they wanted to get true leadership. So if we must get to that point where we have good leadership in the world, and then I think God must be involved. People cannot say that God should not be involved in politics and things will go well.
Mr. Silva, let me not cut you short, but from what the president was saying, I mean, this is something I really want us to get it clear. I understand why some may think that it's not good for Christians to get into politics and the rest and so forth. When they make this kind of statements, man of God, you will not believe. Your Excellency, you will not believe. I've had people, most of us have had friends call us and say, why do you get involved in this and that and that? No, I can understand that, because the system and the government and the government is so corrupt. The system is so corrupt that they feel, if a Christian, you are involved in it, you will get corrupt. But what they fail to understand is, if we should have more Christians, just like the president was saying, if we should have more good people, more people who respect, who have integrity, more people with integrity, more people who respect the truth get into the system, we will change the system. But so they are thinking, oh, the government is a corrupt system, this is a corrupt system, so Christians should not get involved. And hence, just like the president was saying, they allow the corrupt few to lead the holy majority. Just like that's what I love this book. It says, let the righteous many step aside. Sometimes it's sad to see that we live in societies where the good people tend to suffer, and the bad people, they go into the system of lawmaking, so they make the wrong laws.
The problem is that when the good are silent,
yes,
the evil will bully them. Some good people have been bullied by bad people.
That's right.
And you know what they decide to do? They decide to be silent, just because they don't want to be bullied. Even in schools today, the bad children, they bully the good ones, and sometimes onto submission.
Mm-hmm.
That is what has happened today in the world. The good majority have been bullied by the wicked mind. And they tell them that, okay, if you say politics is evil, let me ask you, that means there's too much evil there. If you just enter there, it's so contagious that the thing will just baptize you like
that's what some people
okay,
actually
now, if that is the case, let's go by that logic. Let's go by that logic. Is the entertainment industry, is there evil also in the entertainment industry? Where you find musicians like Don Moen and so on, who are affecting the whole world. Is there also sin in the entertainment industry?
Of course.
Yes. Can a police officer, is there also sin, evil in the police corps?
Of course.
Okay. What about working in the central bank where you control all the money in the world? Is there also sin in that kind of environment?
So, yeah.
I want to say that everywhere in the world there is evil. So for somebody to say it is only in politics that there's evil, so the question I want to ask is, why do we need grace if we can choose and live the life of God without help? Why do we need grace? If it's just a matter of choosing which one to do, and I will be able to avoid all the sin, and I will live the life of God, why do you need grace? The reason why we need grace is that we cannot live the life of God without the help of God. So why also is grace selective? Does the Bible not say that where evil abounds, grace even abounds more?
That's right.
So who did this selection? Who said that if you go to politics hard, the grace will not help you at all? That you will finish. you better go and be a singer. That's where the grace can accompany a little. If you leave that world, you are finished. Who did that selection? That is manipulation.
That's right.
The manipulation of the world to make the good people in the world say, no, I have taken this message to the world and I've seen it work. Because you know what? There is a difference between teaching with the Bible and teaching the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I have discovered, I read some books on the issue of political leadership. I discovered that some Christians have written some books. But I have not found a book that was preaching the Bible in politics. I saw a book that was preaching politics using the Bible when it is convenient. No, I decided in this book to go into the teachings of Jesus Christ, into his life and his practice, and show clearly. So I basically had one handbook before me, is the Bible, to present these facts and these truths, to show you self-defense, to show you political leadership, to show all within. So I was just teaching the Bible. So this is teaching the Bible, not just teaching with the Bible. And that's why I can authoritatively say it anyway. It is difficult to refute the facts and the truths that are presented in this book.
Dear televiewers, welcome to today's edition of Our Praise. We are talking about the Christian politics and self-defense. And listen, to all of you watching us right now, and somehow you're already feeling this craving, you want to get the book, you want to get this book. Now we've made it easy for each and every one of you to get this book. Now, just go to ABC Amber TV website, go to products and you see the book there. You can get the book for an affordable price. Now, for this show and for the support of Ambazonia, the president has decided to give this book for a takeaway price. Now, I want to let you know that whosoever is buying this book, whatsoever is coming in, is going to be used for the revolution. It's going to be used to support the revolution. So, I mean, we're talking about after the cost prices. So the truth is, I've been covered, I've been taken away. So the basic necessity you need right now is just a laptop or a handy which you're already having. Go to ABC Amba TV, please go to products, you will see this book, you can get it there. And right now on the screen, you can, those who can't even, you don't have a credit card or you don't have PayPal, and you see you cannot order this book through the website. On the screen right now, you are having the PayPal number, the Cash App number. We are developing, if there's an email also projected on the screen right now, you can write us a mail and ask us how to get the book. The ABC Amba TV team will help you to get the book. So let's come back to our topic. We're talking about Christians and politics right now. That's the main point of discussion because we're coming to the part B of this. Now, I want to read something from this book. Now, I understand why this is my own opinion if I read something from the book. I understand why something this way, talking about Christians should not get involved in leadership and politics. And the system and government is so corrupt and led by corrupt people so much that the weak-minded think getting involved into politics automatically makes you corrupt, just like the president was saying. But the reverse is true. The system is corrupt because we have no Christians there who respect the Christian principles, of which, of course, is the ingredients to democracy. We'll be coming to that because, listen, this book is so rich with insights. Now, Your Excellency, I want to ask you this direct question. What advantages, or what are the advantages and things Christians can add or do, or you think we have when we get involved into politics?
It is that it is fulfilling the will of God for you to be where God wants you to be, where He created you to be. Because I used to say that the reason why we are redeemed to be restored to the place where we were from the beginning.
That's right.
And once you are restored, you are to serve. So we are redeemed to be restored. We are restored to serve. So that is the will of God. Number two, if the people who are redeemed and restored are serving God with fear and trembling and serving mankind, we'll make better decisions, better laws, and make the society a better place. Sin is a reproach. It destroys. The righteousness exalts.
That's right, nation. That's right.
And I see everywhere people are worried about the kind that are being made.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the church resorts to prayer against those kind of laws and say, oh God, just do something. I went to Brazil, I was talking to a set of leaders, and they told me that in the particular state, they have passed a law that a man can marry his daughter. And they were lamenting that this is terrible. It's okay. How did that happen?
That's right.
Go and find out. It depends on who are those who sat there to make the law. According to their judgment, majority of their judgment, they saw that it was correct, so they passed the law like that. But tell me, if those with character, those understanding, those who have the seed of God in them were in that place,
so
and they were the majority,
mm-hmm.
They will vote their values.
Yes.
And that kind of law will not be passed in the first place.
That's true.
Now, let me be a little more philosophical. Let me be a little more philosophical. You see, God proposed that it is those who have His character who can govern the earth. Because God did not create this world and give it as a gift. He created it and wanted to maintain some control.
That's right.
So he even chose the person that will be there. And then he said, I will govern this indirectly through you. You submit to me and you govern. So that my authority, I am governing now through you. So if you are not submitted to me, you cannot really govern my nation.
That's true.
So that's why he gave him a law and then he gave him authority.
Mm-hmm.
That authority is conditioned on the law of God. As you submit yourself to me, you are in charge. So this is the will of God. That once those people who have the mandate of God, one, they will also enjoy God's favor in their leadership. Yes. They can also call on God and God will answer.
That's right.
So the society will be a better place. The laws that will be made will be laws that you can go home and go and sleep. I hear they have in New York, a certain person has been approved to sell human flesh in a restaurant. The Supreme passed a law that he has the right to also. He said they have hindered cannibalism for a long time. He has been fighting for that restaurant to be approved.
Oh my God.
That they have approved him to continue selling human flesh in a restaurant in New York. This is happening in 2019. The Supreme Court, some people said they said we are judges. According to our judgment, we agree that this is okay. Let this man be selling a human flesh. When somebody dies, they come and take the corpse quickly, and then they go and prepare, and people come and eat. So can you imagine this type of laws? Will they really happen when those people who have a little understanding take their place? What I wanted to tell you was that democracy is the rule of numbers, right?
Your Excellency, I know where you're about to go.
Yeah.
I want to put a break there because I know, listen, we are going to come into that. That's from the chapter 2 of this book. It's so got me almost mad. You know, talking about democracy and Christocracy.
Yeah.
We come because that's a topic on its own. Dear viewers, listen, we don't want to.
Yeah.
For those of us right now on ABC Amber TV, I want to encourage you to please invite your friends to join us. Those who are watching by Facebook or by YouTube, please click on the share button. Tell somebody something is happening here because this is a key topic. Listen, we are still touching just the surface of this topic because we have a lot to dig, and I'm happy we have His Excellency here. And listen, this book has a lot to offer. I can't overemphasize that you should get this book for yourself because it's just so powerful. Now, Your Excellency, I know you listed in your book
Mr.
a series of advantages. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted before you get to asking the president the next question, I just wanted to say something in the light of what the president was saying. You know, the Bible says that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. And if people really want to have true joy when it comes to leadership, and then people start desiring to see those who are truly connected to God in places of leadership. Because if we look in the Bible, one of the greatest advisors to rulers were Christians. We know of, Daniel, that was became one of the best technical advisors to a secular king in the Bible, King Nebuchadnezzar. And the advice he gave Nebuchadnezzar was so, powerful. We even know of Joseph as well, that was a technical advisor to Pharaoh in those days when Pharaoh was confused. Joseph had to step in. So if we look at these things, we have to understand that Christians have what it takes to shape, the leadership of the world, put it in the right place. And all those things don't happen in the Bible just, for our entertainment. Those things happen so that we can know that God ordained that Christians should be the one to save, like Mr. President rightly said in the beginning, that God, destined us to dominate in every area in this life.
Dear televiewers, because of time, we have a lot about. We'll be rounding up for today. Now, I just want to read something from the book of the president, and I'm going to ask the president one of last questions for this particular session. Before, next week we'll be coming up again with the B part of this show. And hey, guys, you don't want to miss it, because talking about democracy, and Christocracy, it blows my mind. When I first read it, I was like, democracy? What kind of word is that? When I started reading into it, then I got the knowledge and what the president was really trying to express. Was powerful. But with that being said, I want to read something to you. I want to say something. In the book of the president, in this book, the president gave us a lot of examples on why it's necessary to have people who fear God to get involved in the ruling system. Just like Mr. Siba was saying, we see Joseph, how he influenced the nation of Egypt. In the kingdom of Egypt, then under Pharaoh, when they even went, there was a time where, by the inspiration of God, he had to preserve the land from famine. We also saw in the Bible, now this is very important. This is very important. We also saw that God raised Moses and Aaron to deliver his people from the Egyptians who were there in slavery. Now listen, it was because it's God's purpose and plan that his people should live in the freedom he has given us. These people were held captives, man, for years, for hundreds of years, until God raised up Moses. Now God had to use somebody who respects his law, just like His Excellency was saying, and who has a connection to him. Maybe you want to say something. I see you.
Yes. Let me tell you, without the seed of God in you, you are ordinary.
That's right.
And if you are ordinary, you will be overtaken by ordinary problems.
That's right.
Because it takes a greater force to deal with a lesser one.
That's right.
If we are at the same level, you cannot help me.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be at a higher level to help you. I must be out in order to pull you out. So the problems of this world are caused by the depravity and the problems of man. Mm-hmm. God has to redeem somebody and empower him to help others. That is the plan of God. Because if you cannot help yourself, how can you help me? You see, the policeman who is a corrupt person has been assigned to catch criminals. That's a joke, right? He cannot help himself from stealing. Then he has been given a job to arrest those who are stealing. You see, he will only be himself. One day he will see himself with the people that he was supposed to arrest. So it takes somebody who is out of it, who can walk to the street and say, young man, this is the wrong way. You have to do real community policing with character and respect, and be able to influence the society and be an example. So the will of God is that Moses, who knows him, who has heard from him, who believes his word, who fears him, who even hears from him, be the one that once it is bad, he can also cry to him. Many, many times leaders cry. But who do you cry to if you don't have God? You cry to yourself? Or you cry to your people, your followers? They will say you don't know what you are doing. You are a knucklehead.
That's true.
You have to have some inner strength. Those people without inner strength, they easily give up and collapse at their desperate moment. But there's always a moment when the tears are desperation. You must have to who you can turn to. Everybody turns to you. You turn to who?
Minister Silva and Your Excellency, I'm going to give you 6 names. Now, this is a technical question. We are rounding up the show of today. I'm going to give you 6 names, and I want you to give me what is common about these people. Now, let me just go straight. I'll give you, I know it's easy to get it, but let me go straight. 1, Aaron and Moses. 2, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The next one, Elijah. Let me give a hint. You see how the man of God, Elijah, could not be frightened by Nebuchadnezzar. He led a protest against the evil regime of King Ahab. Another, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they led a protest against the king's decree to worship, an image. They wanted to worship a man-made God. Now we saw Moses and Aaron led a protest against King Pharaoh to let God's people there is something common about these 6 men I've named. So I just want you to give us a short recap, Your Excellency, about what you see common about them.
You know, what I understand for them is the fear of God. What distinguishes all of them is the fear of God.
Yes.
Those that fear God don't fear men, because the Bible says, if we yet fear men, then we cannot be the servants of God.
That's true.
And if you fear men, you'll be a compromiser. The people who can tell the truth without compromise, without fear and favor, it's not just a bold face. There are people who fear God and can say, I fear no man. I say it as it is. So that is what you saw in all those people. They said, let it be done. This is the truth. If we die, let us die. The one thing you should know is that we cannot change our mind on this. It's only somebody who knows that he's sure that he knows he's God. He fears him. He is everywhere. So I fear him. If I fear him, I will not compromise in the room. I will not compromise when everybody has gone. I'm in my office. I will not compromise when I receive a phone call and nobody knows who's talking to me.
That's true.
So I fear God. But if you don't fear God, you are only an isolator.
That's true.
So you will compromise. You will compromise. Those people were able to do that one because they feared God and not man, and they were delivered from the fear of man. It is only your relationship with God that can deliver you from the fear and the service of man.
Thank you, sir. Minister Silva, you have the floor.
Yeah, Mr. Nanchop, these people, if we look at all these characters which you have listed, these people had a special relationship with God, and that is what distinct them. That is what made them different. These people carried the Spirit of God in them, and that is what made them not to be afraid of anyone. And these people that you listed, they choose to listen to God and not to man. One of the things that, influences leadership is because people tend to listen to those who made them leaders, those who made them to be where they are, instead of listening to God for direction to govern the people. But if we look at these people always, like someone like Daniel, always went back to God, to seek, God's face for what, the solution is supposed to be. And so that is what, even Moses, from time to time, when, things were tough, went back to God. That is what true leadership, entails, going back to God in times of difficulties. These people, they had their challenges, leaders, but each time they encountered challenges, they did not run to man. They went to God to seek God's face for, what solution, to take to solve the problem. So if we look at these characters you've listed, they are, they made news. They left footprints on the sand of time, during their era, because they had a special relationship with God. And that is what I encourage every true leadership, to be like.
Thank you, sir. And one more thing, and this is from the book of His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikone. It says, these are biblical examples of leaders who protested vigorously against governments that had no regard for the laws of God. I love that. Governments that destroyed people, that killed people, that never had regards for human lives. You see, and these are some of the things that are in common with these people I mentioned. Because, for instance, Elijah against King Ahab, you see, and we talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These are people who stood up against governments, against institutions that were negative, that destroyed human lives, that had no regards for God's people, that had no regard for God's law. You see, and this shows us why. I mean, to me, when I read things like this, it shows me why it's necessary for those who love humans, who have respect for the laws of God, to stand and to get into public institutions, because they will make favorable laws for the people and for God. You may want to give us a last word, Your Excellency, for today's show.
Yeah, because if somebody went out and organized a protest, they'll say you have become a politician. I see that's a bad thing. You see, Jesus even taught us a parable, and he used the parable to teach us about prayer. Mm-hmm. He used political action to teach us about prayer. He said a widow was in need of something and of justice to be done to her, and she had to go to the judge of the city and knock and say, please, you must help me. And the judge said, no, don't worry me. He said, no, she kept on knocking until she got her wish.
That's right.
Jesus used political action to teach us about prayer. That's protest. So what are people talking about? If we want to stay, let's stay on the truth. This woman did a good action, and Jesus was teaching that that's a good thing the woman did.
That's right.
And so I want to say we can use political action to get our answers in society. That's what Jesus was showing us. That we can use power to get answers in society, not only prayer. If that woman had that problem, I only sat in her house and did not walk to the judge and kept on knocking, protesting, she would have got nothing.
That's true.
So it is our role to do it rightly. The only thing we are not going to do is not going to do as the world, not going to compromise with the world, but make sure that we do what is right for the good of society, not just for us. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you for that wonderful elaboration. Dear televiewers, fellow citizens of the beloved nation of Amazonia, this has been your favorite TV show on ABC Amba TV, Hour of Grace. We've been talking about the Christian, politics, and self-defense. Listen, we just started. We started talking about the Christian and politics. Of course, we'll be coming next week to self-defense. And you don't really want to miss this. Democracy, and Christocracy. I'm encouraging you to get this book by His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Sako Ikomi. I really want you, if I'm reading this book, I was so inspired. I felt like, I felt like, man, I can't just get enough of this book. I just wanted and it's always a blessing, Your Excellency, listening to you speak, because you are like a well of inspiration. Not just to me, but to the people of Amazonia. And of course, I have to bring my beloved brother, Minister Silva, who has always been there supporting us and is always with the people of Amazonia. Man of God, thank you so much for today's show. Dear televiewers, see you next week on ABC Amba TV. Thank you. Bye.